All right, folks. The
Hold
stream.
on.
Oh, it says the stream is live.
Oh, okay. We're just now live on Twitter, live on YouTube.
Live on YouTube. Welcome back, everyone. This is Wagers on Campus, Season 3, Episode 1. As we record on June 26th, we're 58 days away from Week 0 and 65 days from our first quad box in Week 1. We're back earlier than ever with all the coverage on the ever-changing landscape of college football. We're going to talk transfers, coaching changes, rankings, playoff updates, and, of course, bets. And I'm just happy to be here. So this is Mayer, and I'm here with Burns, and we're back. We're back, baby.
Yeah, it's beautiful. NBA championship just ended. I mean, you're a baseball guy. I'm not. So I'm already on the college football train months ago, but now I'm fully balls deep into this season.
Yeah. What have you been soaking up content wise in the college football landscape? I just started diving into content like Monday of this week.
Yeah, nothing, brother. I'm soaking up the good old statistics. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Last 3 seasons haven't been consuming anything really, and it seems to be working for us numbers wise. I just don't want my mind to be skewed by certain personalities, and when it comes into evaluating teams, because there's certain avenues and players that we'll talk about that everyone seems to get behind, and it's not a formula that works 100% of the time when it comes down to performance when we get to the season and the playing field.
Yeah, I hear you. Education is good, but you don't want information overload, and sometimes I feel like that way with the NFL. So, hey, we're a winning podcast 2 years in a row. So don't change it if it ain't broke. I know that's what they say. So I agree, bro.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Schedule moving forward with this pod, we're going to be doing at least one preview episode a week on Thursdays going forward until we break down each conference and we do the conference preview weeks. And we're going to have 4 episodes each week leading up to the season, just like we did last year. So we're going to go through all the conferences and talk about the key players and and all of the teams and what to watch and make our predictions and basically just give you guys a solid breakdown of the college football landscape before heading in to the season. So very excited about that. Looking forward to doing some research and diving in. Outside of that, where the hell do you want to begin?
Yeah, man. We've obviously taken a little break here, so catching up. We just didn't. Mayor has moved to Florida and is in a nice house now, being acclimated to his Florida conditions. And we just didn't need to jump in on NBA, NHL, or MLB. So we took a couple months off from the pod. And what have you been doing? How's life? How's your betting been going in our off season from college football and NFL?
Yeah, life's good. I'm in the house, like you said. I've gotten out to the driving range 3 times in the last 11 days.
Holy shit.
And that's the first time I've hit the range, basically in years. So I finally got Kurt's dad's old golf clubs out of storage, and that is what I'm hitting the balls with. And I'm very bad, but we have to start somewhere. So I've been going to the range when I can. And as far as bets go, this year, brother, my betting fiscal year, I know this sounds so lame, but it's just what it is. It starts on January 30th every year. And so far this season, I am up. I mean, I could check right now, but I'm up like 14 or 15 units on the entire year. So, better to be positive than negative, but it's not like I'm up a landslide. But yeah, just consistently betting every day and just trying to make smart bets. So yeah,
I mean, fuck yeah, because some of us don't like to follow that when we get in the off season. Pointing to myself mainly, I dipped my toes into a couple home run parlays, and I would highly advise not to dip your toes in. Just stay away from the water. But golf betting's been heavy. Just a heartbreaking loss last week for Tommy Fleetwood and the Fleet Street backers back here. Oh man, just unbelievable. Just couldn't believe what I saw. The definition of unbelievable. And I mean, when you look at it, at least we take all of our winnings from the off season, and it's just fun money. We're not quite yet making a living off it. So if I want to place a couple stupid bets, I'm going to.
Correct.
And then now I'll just go ham on the WNBA bets as well.
Look, I mean, it's growing in popularity, and especially now with the opportunity to bet on those games. Sometimes I will have a wager on a WNBA game, and I'll find myself watching. Like it's definitely entertainment. But just to wrap up on this year, starting January 30th, NBA, I was up 17.5 units in the NBA, so I did very well in basketball. PGA, I'm up a little over 4 units. Major League Baseball, I'm up a little over 3 units. College basketball, I literally broke even pretty much on the nose. And then my down sport was hockey. I was down 9 units in hockey. Playoffs kind of killed me. So that's that.
I mean, if you bet 10 grand a unit, I mean, you actually could make this a living. You're up in every sport but one.
Facts. It's true.
Run that by the missus real quick. See if that we can up the unit size.
Yeah, exactly. But other than that, things are good. And just looking forward to football season and the fall and all of what that entails moving forward. So,
yeah, I mean, every time I cut my grass, it just makes me think of a halftime at noon game. I don't have the biggest yard, but I run out there and cut it. So it's just getting me really psyched up for college football. And besides that, I think we should try to catch up on what we missed in college football, because everyone's going to be dying to get the current events and news from what's happened so far this season.
Absolutely. So kick us off, brother.
Yeah. Well, big news. We got 2 new teams. Do you know that we have 2 new teams?
I didn't know until I read the outline of the podcast.
Maryland has another team. So actually both states that had 1 team now have 2. Or wait, no. Delaware is its own state. I'm the dumbest fuck on earth. It's basically Maryland. It's just like a Siamese, or what's those? A conjoined twin of Maryland. Right. Delaware is now represented in the FBS. The Blue Hens, Fighting Flaccos, are here, and then Missouri, as big as that state is, only had 1 FBS team, and now Missouri State, the Bears, are in. I was double checking all my sources. Still the bullshit rule that they can compete in their conference championship game, but they cannot be eligible for a bowl or the college football playoff for 2 years.
And why is that?
No idea. Some sort of pledge rule. The frat of joining the NCAA. The probationary period of some sort.
So what conferences is Delaware and Missouri State playing in?
CUSA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So not exactly teams that jump off the page that you're going to be tuning into, but hey, 2 new faces that you're going to see when you play college, when you fire up College Football 26. Michigan has a competitor now for helmets. Delaware wears the wing helmets, also kind of the same colors. So that makes me happy. Because all those people do is think that they're God's gift to the green earth when it comes to uniforms. And ain't so special now, are you, buddy?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I didn't know that. Same conference as Middle Tennessee State, so you can catch them live potentially.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, and then basically what the Big Ten and SEC have been trying to do, they've been trying to lay down the long dicks of the championship conferences, and they're trying to get, first of all, expanded to 16. Second of all, they're trying to get guaranteed 4 seeds, just the conferences, in both conferences for the playoff. Getting big pushback from the other two, obviously, and everyone else. So it's not necessarily on the forefront of being passed. But, I mean, is there any sanctity besides just having an automatic bid for winning your conference? Like no other sport does this. Let you guarantee XYZ to specific conferences on the college level. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts would be, are they proposing this format with a 12 team or a 16 team?
They're looking to push to 16.
Looking to push to 16. Proposing 16. Yeah. 16 team 16 team playoff, four automatic from the SEC and 4 automatic from the Big Ten. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yep, that's right. So half the field.
Well, I think it's silly because most years those conferences will have proper representation, in my opinion. You know, like who would have been in the playoffs this year without the rule from those conferences? You know, like or last year, Ohio State, obviously, Oregon, obviously, Indiana, and then in the SEC, Penn State. And then in the SEC, I mean, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, maybe.
Ole Miss.
Yeah, Ole Miss. Like I don't see why. I don't understand why the rule even needs to be there in the first place. Like these conferences are good enough as it is. Like they're going to have representation.
Alabama lost and was left out of the first ever college football playoff of 12 teams, and so all the donors and everyone are now having the mouthpiece, Greg Sankey, the biggest piece of shit somehow in the entire life of college football when the NCAA still exists. And I mean, it's just a temper tantrum of the SEC just living off of their brands versus the play on the field. It's like, don't lose to Oklahoma. If you don't want to miss the playoff, like don't throw 2 picks in plus territory, Ole Miss. If you don't want it, then lose to a 6-6 Florida team. It's that simple.
I couldn't agree more. They all have their opportunities, and the more the playoff field expands, the more advantageous it's going to be for the bigger schools because that's just how it is. So I don't know why they're complaining. I mean, I guess they're just complaining because they're angry, because they're bitter. But it's stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, and they're always going to look at like what puts asses in seats. And I know there's a lot of speaking of the NBA at the top of the show, the small market finals. It's like it's rarely going to be a small market final. In college football, it's just way more physical, and cream usually rises to the top. So, I mean, it just needs to put emphasis more on and we've talked about this, the regular season, and eliminate conference championship week and just make it 16 already and have the higher seed host 2 home games, the first 2 rounds. And I guarantee you the money will still be there at the end of the day.
Yeah. When do you think the 16-team playoff is coming? Is that like official, or are they just working on it?
I mean, it's unwritten official. because
Okay.
it's already there in the bracket, right? They're not adding another weekend or another game, or they'd be adding four more games. No, yeah, four more games, but they wouldn't be extending the playoff any weekend. The same amount of games total would be played. You need to win 4 to win a national championship, which it is if you're a wild card right now. If you're a bye week, you get 3. But obviously, all 4 of those lost in the inaugural season, so getting some big pushback.
Yeah. Well, they did change the one rule, the rule of now it's the top 4 teams that finish the season ranked 1 through 4 get the bye, as opposed to last year where like Boise State got a bye, even though they were ranked like 12, and Arizona State got a bye, even though they were not in the top 4. So that's important for the view, for the listeners to know. If you all didn't know that, it's the teams ranked 1 through 4 now get the bye in college football in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yep. Which wouldn't have changed at the top. And to be honest, Boise and Arizona State still had to travel. And it's just the rest versus rust argument. So it's not like they got a bye and home field advantage. Would have been sweet seeing the Blue Turf host a playoff game, I'll tell you that much.
It would have. Yeah.
So, yeah. And then scholarships went up to 105 from 85. Obviously, teams were carrying more than 85, but this is where your walk-ons and everything like that. But yeah, 105 scholarship athletes will be allowed on the team now.
So if you have more scholarship athletes, that reduces the chance of having walk-ons on a team, right? In theory?
Yeah, pretty much. Over 105 is going to be a stretch. Now all those walk-ons will be able to stick around. It should help grow within. Find those diamonds in the rough. Because obviously you're not obligated as a walk-on to stick around if you're able to get a scholarship somewhere else. And I think this will only help the better teams, obviously.
Yeah.
Yep. And then one note, we've been getting, this is a personal note, we've been getting, we got a little fire from us. Someone that runs the account basically went to bat for Thomas Castellanos because he came out and he said he's looking forward to playing Alabama, but without Nick Saban, it's not really the same. So he's the new Florida State quarterback. They play week 1. I'm all for it. There was a falling out. If you're unaware, he got benched. He had an incredible sophomore season, over 1,000 yards rushing. He still has a great clip TD to interception ratio. Boston College fans were pretty down on him, and Florida fans obviously are going to shit on the guy. But he's one of my number one keep an eye on guys. I think he'll be same as Jordan Travis, if not better, from a Florida State perspective. But yeah, what are your thoughts on, let alone a transfer coming in and giving bulletin board material in June to Alabama?
Yeah. I think if it's within his character and he is just trying to if that's just how he is, if he's just a confident dude who, says things like that, which I'm pretty sure that's how he is as a guy, based on some of the other comments I've heard from him, then yeah, go for it. So be it. I believe when he was at Boston College, he said something about Florida State saying we got to go to class during the week. So that's just
fair.
That's just how he is. At the end of the day, when Alabama and Florida State line up and play the game, I don't think the game is going to be decided because of Castellanos's comments. Like at the end of the day, if Florida State is ready, then they'll show up and it'll be fine. But if they're not ready, then it won't be because of his comments. I'll just leave it at that. So
I just don't see them stopping me. That's steep. That's
bro. Doesn't he remind you of Kyler Murray in just like so many ways?
Yeah, except not a toddler. I totally agree. Height wise, but yes.
What's his height? What's Castellanos' height?
He's like he clears 6 feet. Might be right on the nose. Right on the nose, maybe.
He's listed at 5'11", so he's actually probably like 5'9" or 5'10".
Wow. Man.
I'm just being honest. This dude reminds me of Kyler, which is a compliment. Like maybe being at Florida State with Gus Malzahn, the new offensive coordinator there, and some better players around him. In theory, maybe you're right. Maybe he'll have a fantastic year because he is dynamic. I didn't watch Castellanos on like a snap to snap basis, which is totally different because like you can watch highlights of a player and see their best moments, but you don't really know a quarterback unless you really just kind of, see what they do on the typical 2nd and 8 or something like that. And I don't know. I don't know what he's like, but I know he's dynamic. I know he can make plays.
Yeah. Well, for his sake, let's just hope an announcer rips some sort of gay slur and he can drive one to deep right center. Alabama's a 12.5-point favorite on the road as a future. So
yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I just like him. I like these QBs that can take a game over. And I don't really like Boston College, so I really hope Florida State can get off the mat.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Anything else? All I would have to say would just be random stuff. Like I know you had mentioned Boise State in a playoff game on the blue turf. Did you know that they play at Notre Dame this year?
Yeah.
It's an interesting game.
Yeah, for sure. Question marks at quarterback for Notre Dame. It's interesting. I mean, the whole Notre Dame bouncing back, a little bit of a different team, still have Greathouse, still have decent amount of the defensive talent, but we will see. But their schedule is fairly pedestrian. So that Boise State game is pretty strong compared to the rest of their schedule.
Yeah.
That'll be good. There's a lot of, I'll look forward to talking about that. And we'll be doing a little bit of a look ahead we'll record early in the week and release one for July 4th. It's the holiday next weekend, but we'll dig into the bets and the futures and the lines that are posted and just talk through those first thoughts and looking forward to that next week because there's a lot of those weird non-conference games that have some eye-opening spreads.
Yep. Yeah, and outside of that, we're going to talk about quarterbacks here in just a minute. So obviously quarterbacks drive the sport. I'm interested to talk the quarterback landscape going into this year because there's a lot of guys who are returning, names that y'all know who we're excited about, but also some of these big schools have new quarterbacks. And that is always very interesting.
Yeah, transfer portal is a crazy landscape nowadays. But, when you actually break it down, there is a ton of returning talent. And, you definitely still need to be very particular and not get caught up with the name versus what they actually translate to in your system, i.e., there was a lot of speculation that Ohio State passed on Cam Ward, whether that be didn't want to shell up the money, or they actually thought Will Howard would be a better complement to what they were trying to establish, and they ended up working out. So I think we're finding quickly in the NIL and the transfer portal era is that chemistry and continuity still matter a ton. And switching up your roster every couple years is not really going to be a formula in such a physical sport when you're going to need next man up, and especially early in the season. But with that being said, I put together a little list of top transfers, in my opinion, of who's coming in this next season. A lot of big names, including my favorite. So why don't we dig into that?
Wow, nice graphic, dude.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
So yeah, go through these guys.
Yeah, so Caden Salter, Liberty fella. Remember him? Started at Tennessee. Obviously pushed USC 2 seasons ago to the brink in their bowl game, the Fiesta Bowl, when they went undefeated and got a New Year's Day bowl. But he took a step back last year. Can't really blame it on anything other than, maybe lack of, people want to injury, but was he really in it? Still playing in the CUSA with that talent? Well, he's at Colorado now, and that's him on the left side of the graphic. And when I rank these players that are coming in top transfers, there's also, you're going to have to include upside, because obviously if we rank this list based on pure talent, this isn't going to be your 1 to 6 list. So I think Salter has a huge amount of upside. My only concern is he's played 6 games against Power 5 schools. He's 3-3. But he doesn't turn the ball over. 56 TDs, 17 interceptions. You can throw an additional 21 rushing touchdowns on top of that. Listen, he's a producer. Shedeur, he's a good replacement for Shedeur. Obviously, you're going to have one of the top quarterbacks in Julian Lewis right up, breathing down his neck. So I think that competition is going to be solid. And speaking of people that can run, this is going to be a close one to the pod that we will probably be talking about a lot, is Beau Pribula. This is a unique one because not much shown on the field yet. He's going into his junior year. Was obviously backing up Drew Aller at Penn State, and now he's coming in to Missouri, where Brady Cook is leaving, and obviously a much different style of play when you look at the two. And I don't think anyone has the style of play of Drew Pine. He's in the MAC now, so we still get him gracing our TVs on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights in November. Anyway, it feels like a Rocky Lombardi situation there. Anyway, Pribula. I'll stop here. We'll talk, every 2. He's going to be a different. Missouri returns 13 starters, and 9 of them on defense, and particularly a defense that won them some games. Brady Cook was injured, and their offense was just stagnant, even with Luther Burden. I have hope for this Missouri team and Drinkowitz. This might be my last time I put hope in there, because I was very high on them preseason last year.
Yeah, they didn't meet expectations last year, in my opinion. As far as Pribula goes, this is the guy that transferred before Penn State's playoffs started, which was, that caught headlines, and whatever, he did it for whatever reason. But he's obviously athletic, but like you said, hasn't played a whole lot. Curious to see how he is as a passer, like a dynamic passer, as well as just making the right reads and just managing the game. In the SEC, he's going to go up against really good talent. Very intrigued, for sure. Clearly he's highly regarded. The guy was recruited by Penn State. And and we've seen him get into games and show off his athleticism, and he is that. We know he can run the ball. So I'm definitely
6 yards a pop on just about 100 carries is a pretty decent sample size. He's shifty. He's going to extend plays, which in college we know can be a killer if you're backing the other team. Much different than the NFL speed-wise, so you love having these shifty guys in the backfield.
And as far as Salter goes, I mean, I think that's a good pickup for Colorado. I mean, I believe he spent 4 years in the Liberty program. So now he comes to Colorado, and they've started to build a program there, and you got to think that they have the framework for the offense to be successful just based on what they were able to do last year. And I think basically they're probably looking to plug Salter into their scheme, into their system, and just let his playmaking do the rest. So I think that's a good move by Colorado.
Yeah. Obviously, Deion's no stranger to the portal, but it seems like he is building something there. Pat Shurmur's there for a second year at OC. So, the brain trust is there for success. If he can just get an offensive line, obviously has an incredible defensive IQ. That's Deion. So, I'd say I'm looking forward to that season. And then we just talked about him, Castellanos. Man, benched last year. I wasn't so high on the BC team as a whole. Obviously, they stopped any Syracuse future I had, which maybe that's why I'm just so salty at these sons of bitches. But when it comes to you look at his season 2 years ago, breakout star as a sophomore. I mean, he had 1,100 yards rushing. He had 20 TDs, 5 picks. I mean, the guy, he was someone that can get it done for your team. You just have to think, is this guy a locker room cancer, arrogant, dominated in high school and can't seem to understand why it's not translating? Or did he just need a scenery change, and Boston College and Florida State are better because of it? I don't know. We'll see. Darian Mensah is a highly sought-after recruit. Obviously pulled a pretty number when it comes to NIL, close to $3 million, I think it was. And leading a Tulane team. He's someone that I think in the ACC can translate pretty well from a Tulane offense that was ready to go nonstop. I mean, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 9-4 record last year. I mean, this is a team that was in the conference championship, so he knows what it's like to win. I like all of his intangibles. That's why I have him ranked so high. And Duke may not be quite there yet as a program, but with Manny Diaz a little bit less under the spotlight, and his hot seat is a little different than it's been in the past. I like what he can do with Mensah.
Yeah, I mean, Duke has had some respectable teams here as of late. I mean, obviously they had Riley Leonard there. They had is it Elko? Was Elko the coach? And now he's at A&M, Mike Elko.
Yeah, that's right.
They had Mike Elko. Daniel Jones was at Duke. I mean, they're like they are definitely trying to elevate themselves as a program, and bringing in Mensa. I mean, that happened pretty early on in the offseason, if I remember correctly. And that was just such a stunner when I saw that, because it was such a lucrative deal, such a lucrative NIL deal for Mensa. It was about $4 million a year. And out of all the places that you would have thought Mensa could go to, he went to Duke. It just felt very random, honestly. But like when I take a step back, Duke, they have been trying to build that football program. I respect the effort that they're putting into it, because everybody else is putting in effort too. Everyone's trying to win. We're seeing the competitive landscape become tighter in some ways now, especially with the expanding college football playoff. I mean, we had Arizona State in a quarterfinal game this year. Like that's a big deal. So like I understand what they're trying to do. As far as Castellanos goes, I mean, like I said earlier, I like him. He's dynamic. I think Florida State's offense will definitely have moments of them being fun. Ultimately, I don't think it's a situation where he's going to go in there and save the season, save the program. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't think it's anything like that. But can Florida State win 8 games this year and be better because of Castellanos? Yeah, I think so. So, yeah, I don't think anyone could save Florida State this year. From the fall that they had from 2 years ago to last year, I don't think all of a sudden you rise right back up to the cream of the crop. I think it's going to take more than a year if they're looking to get back to like the playoff, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yep. I do agree. And the final two, obviously, Carson Beck, we thought was transferring for his influencer girlfriend, and then cheats on her. But this isn't a pop culture podcast. That's all I know about it. But this guy's uglier than someone walking through just a line of just 2x4s. So maybe that young lady looked out there. But he's in Miami now. He's at the U, and seems like this is another one like Castellanos, except obviously Beck was a lot more successful in his tenure at Georgia. Seems like a good mutual breakup here. Cam Ward out. Miami was in need of someone to refill that quarterback position. Listen, I mean, for as low as it looks like Beck has done in the last couple of years, he's close to 8,000 yards passing. I mean, it was a little bit further down though, 12 interceptions, but he had him. I mean, we thought Georgia was going to win before he got hurt, so he had him right knocking on the door to win an SEC championship before Gunnar Stockton came in. But it looks like they're ready to go with Gunnar, with Beck only having 1 year left. We'll see. And then my guy, number one transfer, John Mateer. Unfortunately, you follow the socials, tweeted out toughest schedules in the SEC. Oklahoma's right up there, number one. It's a fucking gauntlet for sure. But they have done some work. Obviously ending their season on a high note, beating Alabama at home. They added Mateer, they added Jaden Ott, some real big time gamers. I just think it's tough to see those wide receivers transfer out, and we'll be talking about them quite a bit. But when I look at John Mateer, I mean, this guy does it all. He's a stud, just a brick shit house. I mean, when we look at his career, I mean, he runs the ball. He can sling it with the best of them. He was, in that Wazoo, area where weren't playing really that much defense. So a lot of the times he's got to come back or just keep up with the other offenses. He was able to get out a 14-9 record at Wazoo, but last season they were 9-3. So when you look at this guy's career, man, 1,000 yards rushing, 3,200 yards passing in 2 seasons, 30 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 16 rushing touchdowns in 2 seasons. This kid has moxie. He's ready to lower his shoulder at the QB position when he's going down the sideline. He's a guy you want on your team. Man, I love Mateer. We'll talk about it next week. 35-1 is disgusting Heisman odds. If you want to look for a stretch down the board, he'll have my ticket at least a little bit on it. We talk about that schedule as well. But those are the last two on my transfer rankings. Two of the bigger names that hit the portal.
Yeah, you sound like John Gruden when you're talking about John Mateer.
He's nicey. He is nicey.
You love that guy.
I do, man. He's just a ball player. Yeah, you're right. I fully Gruden out. A Gruden sexual for John Mateer.
What would you player comp Mateer to for someone who hasn't watched him? Would you say he's like Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M?
No, I mean, for moxie wise, yes, but he's a superior player to Manziel when it comes to arm talent. When I think of, let's see, a player that's comparable.
Manziel won a Heisman, and you're saying he's superior. You're saying he's superior. I'm just saying.
Listen, when it comes to college, we talked about it earlier. Extending the plays wins you games versus NFL, where a defensive end is running as fast as your 4-4 quarterback. It's just a little different. So Manziel was good. He's a Heisman winner. Someone he's comparable to, a college Marcus Mariota, a leader on the field, get you W's, has the wheels, can turn it on. That's off the top of my mind. If you want to talk about him a little bit more, I can probably come up with a better comp as well.
Baker Mayfield?
That's a really good one as well. Baker's really good.
Moxie, good arm, can run when he needs to. Although I think Mateer runs even a little bit more than Baker.
He does, yeah. Plays with the chip on his shoulder.
Yeah. I'm super excited to watch Mateer at Oklahoma, and also Jaden Ott, like you said, the California running back. He's a very good player.
Yeah.
And as far as Carson Beck goes, I mean, I'm not a Carson Beck fan. He rubs me the wrong way. But I do have to give him props from the standpoint of he's done pretty well at Georgia. But personally, just my opinion, I think that was more as a result of the Georgia program and the system that they have there and just the guys that they have on that team and in that locker room, as opposed to Carson Beck really elevating that program. That's how I always saw it. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Carson Beck, and I think this is such a Miami move. This match was perfect for each other. And I'm just hoping that Miami misses the college football playoff. They can go 8-4, they can go 9-3, but I don't want to see Carson Beck in that Miami squad in the college football playoff. And I don't want to see it because it's just like a pride and ego thing for me. If he goes out and balls out and there's no denying that they deserve to be there, then I'll eat my words and I'll say maybe Carson Beck was better than I gave him credit for. But at this point, I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is why college football is so great. It's kind of like golf when it comes to odds, at least preseason when we're talking futures on the futures market. I mean, there's people last year, you could probably get caught holding a plus 450 Carson Beck to win the Heisman ticket or plus 600. He was the favorite coming into the season. No, thank you. And it played out. Basically, the thing about Beck that worries me the most, talk about some of these guys, what worries me. Alabama game, which they lost, even though valiant effort coming back. There was a lot of heart. 3 interceptions. Texas game the first time around, 3 interceptions. And they won that game. I mean, they smoked them too. The next week, Florida game, neutral site, 3 interceptions. I mean, when the lights got bright, he just kind of cowered into the except he did come back in that epic Georgia Tech game, but that's Georgia Tech. So we will see. Transfers. There's another position we want to talk about, and I have it ready. A lot of wide receiver transfers as well. This is going to really affect the landscape. Quarterback obviously is huge, but they need someone to throw it to. And there's some big names that were out there. First two that jumped out. One was a little bit more recognizable because of the controversy they started, but Eric Rivers. This is a name that might not jump off the paper to the common college football player, but this is why. I mean, he was at Florida International, a huge name, huge wide receiver. No, I'm just kidding. He's 5'11", but he plays huge because he had 1,200 yards receiving on 62 receptions. I mean, that's 19 yards a clip with 12 touchdowns last season. I mean, Rivers is a guy that's going to get you yards. And so he's coming into Georgia Tech with Haynes King. Going to be interesting to see Georgia Tech offense with a top tier wide receiver. And I'd have him ranked top 5 in the country, probably wide receivers. He's that big of a talent. But when it comes to the team base, this really is Georgia Tech's. And then Trebor Pena. Interesting to see this dynamic because this guy did not make any friends leaving Syracuse. Racked up a ton of yards last year, 940 yards on 84 receptions. So led the ACC in receptions last year. And he basically said, Syracuse, you got to pay me or I'm hitting the portal. And he was public about it. And he said, I'm the best receiver in the game. Take it easy, bud. Maybe not that exact words, but certainly talking like it. And he ends up at Penn State. Personally, I think the dynamic is needed in Happy Valley. It feels like a lot of their athletes are just too nice in the recent recent memory, like Saquon, Singleton, all these. It couldn't really name that many wide receivers that have really had that wide receiver diva mentality, if any, at Penn State. It's just too nice. So maybe a real dickhead coming into there will actually change the big game mentality in Happy Valley.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. They might be well served with a dynamic playmaker at the wide receiver position. And as far as Rivers go, I mean, sounds like it's a nice pickup for Georgia Tech. I know that they did lose Eric Singleton Jr. In the transfer portal to Auburn, who is a highly productive receiver for them last season. So, hey, welcome to college football. Lose a good receiver, get a good receiver.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, Notre Dame. This is where it would. Next on the list, number 4 is Malachi Fields. And when we talked about earlier Notre Dame, what are they going to look like? They have Greathouse, but it comes to the QB battle. And when you have these types of players, it's Malachi Fields highly recruited out of high school. And, I think that with complimenting Jeremiah Love this season is going to be huge because all eyes are going to be on him as that dude. But when you have Malachi Fields coming in to a very pedestrian Virginia program, he was still able to produce almost 2,000 yards in 2 seasons. So, and then Nick Anderson, stud from Oklahoma. We talked about the injuries, tough. He was basically out all of last year. His freshman year, an absolute burner. 800 yards on 38 receptions, 21 yards a pop with 10 touchdowns on 38 catches. This dude is pay dirt. This dude is Showtime. And guess what? He's going to be one of the big 3 because LSU is going to have absolute weapons for Garrett Nussmeier. And Nick Anderson, in my opinion, will be the best of the three. And he's right there at number 3 for me in the transfer portal at wide receiver.
Yeah, it's a good call with Anderson. LSU does not play with their playmakers and their wide receivers. I mean, come on, man. I mean, recent memory. I mean, geez, we're talking Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase.
Ever heard of him?
I mean, obviously Odell and Jarvis Landry. I mean, my God, LSU wide receivers, they just continue to get great talented players. And as far as Malachi Fields goes, I mean, that's interesting, man. I mean, he played for Virginia. They haven't had the most success in football, so it might be a little bit under the radar. But you're right. Malachi Fields, back-to-back 50-plus reception seasons. The guy is a playmaker. He's a senior. It's a good addition for Notre Dame. My question to you and college football would be, who's going to be the one throwing the passes for Notre Dame to Malachi Fields this year? Have they made a decision? And even if they have made a decision, you know, excuse me, how much do we know about the guy? So,
yeah, we'll see. Looks like it's going to be first-time starter there. So, last thing about Anderson, I mean, I'd love to see LSU adopt the fan base, just like black suits, because their other wide receiver, Aaron Anderson, which is probably going to be touted as a better receiver overall. But Anderson and Anderson leading the way, Mr. Anderson. Matrix call out there. Nope.
hit him up. Hit
Nope.
up LSU.
Nope. Okay. Never mind.
Maybe someone in the comments.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Hello, anyone out there? No. Last two, with number 2 being Zachariah Branch. Listen, this is a dude that highly touted.
He's a burner.
He is an absolute burner, but just not kick returner. But he just wasn't utilized to the maximum. Saw flashes of it in that Notre Dame game, but he will be added to this Georgia team, which they need a little help athletically. Been not exactly the biggest names the last couple of years have come out there like you would normally see from Georgia. Obviously they still produce a winning program, but someone like Zachariah Branch, it's going to be scary in the SEC. And then this guy was highly touted by us last year preseason, Kevin Concepcion, just an absolute receptions magnet, just a guy that will just bring your team up. North Carolina State had a down year as a whole last year compared to, oh man, we could rewind. The amount of people that had North Carolina State in the playoff last year was preposterous.
Yeah.
And they were set up for failure just based on that alone. Down year, he's only a sophomore, true sophomore. So freshman year, he brought in 71 receptions. So down to 53. You should see an uptick in that going to Texas A&M. Wegman's gone, so we are full Marcel Reed. Don't worry about anyone breathing down your neck. Reed will need that, his reliable safety valve. And I think Concepcion is going to be a problem in the SEC, and Texas A&M might have a piece to finally get him over the finish line.
Yeah, man, that's a great ad for A&M. Marcel Reed is absolutely the truth at quarterback. So I expect him to have a very good year. I was curious about Marcel Reed's Heisman odds because I would be I'd be curious. I'd be interested. I'd be intrigued to see what he's priced at.
You could get him at 50-1 at some books, so higher than Mateer, and he's behind names like Stockton and Beck, Dante Moore, which is crazy. Don't get me started on that. But yeah, I mean, like we said, players that extend plays in college can get stats, and when you look down the board, those are the key intangibles that you look for when you're looking to place a future like that.
For sure. In Concepcion, he's just a very good player. He's tough to tackle, thick lower body. He's effective as a rusher, effective as a receiver, yards after the catch. Just a good player. And Branch, we talked about it. He's dynamic. He can do the punt return thing. He can kick return. He can work out of the slot. You can throw him in the backfield. You can do gadget plays with him on offense. He's just quick and speedy. So nice pickup for Georgia. Both of these pickups are very solid.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Alex. Yeah, and so covering the transfer portal, a lot of big names, but like we talked about, there's also going to be names that stuck around. And so the other portion that I wanted to talk about was some of those names that stuck around. And how about duos? Duos you're most looking forward to in the upcoming season, wide receiver, quarterback duos. So that's more than just the and this is me personally. This isn't my ranking of best. This is the duos that I want to watch. These are the ones I want to see. And I mean, a lot of them are going to be because of the question marks behind there, finally getting some talent around them, or just can they do it again? So first one, yeah, you're probably laughing at that one, but I mean, dude wore 33, sat behind everyone at Ohio State. He was a 5-star recruit out of high school. He's able to finally go get a starting role at Cal. Devin Brown, what is he going to do with a starting role? He's in a Power 4 school. I want to see him. I want to see that combo. Or is there something funny, Alex?
Where's Ryan Williams?
Oh, okay. Alabama needs to pick a quarterback first.
Yeah, we'll get into all of the new quarterbacks at some point, but hey, look, Jeremiah Smith. Everyone knows it. He would have been a first-round pick in the NFL draft just this last year. So the guy is a freak. He's a stud. He's incredible. So he deserves to be on this list. But being at one is just funny. Just knowing you.
Well, I mean, I think you put it there just because they are going to be, like the names you just reeled off. I mean, Carnell Tate is going to be taking over for Ibuka's role, and he's going to be a person that will probably be drafted top 15 as well. So you're going to have two NFL studs out there, but this is the defending national champions, and they're going to have a brand new quarterback that hasn't played a meaningful minute of college football. So it's going to be something that I'm going to be watching even more than I normally would. But the ones that I'm circling back to, though, Levitt and Tyson, obviously the Arizona State run last year was incredible to watch, incredible to follow, almost pulled the upset on Texas. But, I mean, now these guys are more than just a Cinderella story. A ton of pro talk, highly touted as prospects for the next level, and they're both back. It's two of the highest ranked in their position. So my biggest thing about watching these guys is, can they do it again? Will coordinators be able to figure out what that magic sauce was from a Dillingham perspective? And then, just talked about him a little earlier, Haynes King. I mean, he's, right up there with Mateer on just gamers. Just a fucking hoss, lowers his shoulders. I mean, and then he's getting Eric Rivers, who's going to be a freak out there. So those are the next two on my list, 5 and 4, that I think will be pretty exciting to watch.
Yeah, it's solid. Brown, obviously, like you said, the Ohio State transfer, and DeJesus, he was at UNLV. He was a good return guy as well. Yeah, that's a cool one to see on the list. And of course, with Arizona State, Tyson, dude, he put up great numbers last season: 75 catches, 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So that's a really solid pick, especially with Levitt returning into the fold. So yeah,
Yeah, and Nussmeier and Anderson, man. I mean, Nussmeier is going to have every opportunity to succeed this season. We watched last year in what seemed like the biggest moments, just kind of turtled a little bit. But those growing pains are necessary. I mean, that's his first year fully starting. He just took the reins over from a Heisman Trophy winner, for God's sakes, and also got to come back a little bit on Brian Kelly. But this team, a reason I want to watch this team a little bit more and this duo, they can't be any worse on defense. They should be able to tackle a quarterback this season. If not, it'll just be another walk down memory lane, because you can't blame Nussmeier for having to put up 45 every game. But Jaden Daniels had to do that as well. So
he did.
It seems like someone has to get a little bit better on that defensive side. But Nussmeier led the conference in completions and attempts. So this boy's slanging it. And then Mendoza obviously made a name for himself at Cal, was showcased in that Miami game, the shootout, more than anything. But he gets one of the best receivers. Actually, the best receiver gets Mendoza, because Elijah Surratt stayed at Indiana, and Mendoza coming in from Cal. See what Cignetti should do. Another ho-hum schedule, playing absolute cupcakes in the non-conference, so should be able to get this connection pretty quickly.
Yeah, nice list. Mendoza at 2. I know you said it's not your ranking; it's just what you're excited to watch. So fair.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, can I say something about Mendoza though in Indiana? I've heard more than one person say that they upgraded or potentially upgraded in the offseason with Mendoza replacing Curtis Rourke. And I'm sorry, I have a very difficult time buying that narrative.
I mean, that's an opinion. I would agree with you in the sense that it's not like Curtis Rourke was dog meat and Mendoza's like some sort of immediate Heisman candidate, that's for sure.
Yeah. I guess I'm just looking for more from Mendoza. And granted, I believe he's only a sophomore, I want to say.
A junior, but he's a true junior. So his third year.
Yeah, it's just interesting. And I didn't do my prep heading into this, but obviously I'm curious if if like Arch Manning and someone from Texas is really worth looking into, or Cade Klubnik and someone at Clemson, or somebody like that, possibly.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing to bring up here, Alex, because I put together a top 5 list. We talked, this is going to be a heavy transfer episode, but also we wanted to make sure to touch on the bigger names. We'll obviously dive into everyone during our conference previews, but talking about some of the guys here, just a ranking of who I think first-year starters that you're going to want to look at. 5, Sayin already talked about, Pribula already talked about, Dante Moore didn't talk about yet. Taking over an Oregon team that's obviously extremely disappointed with their season and the results. Not shocking from a Dan Lanning-led team, but this kid is coming from sitting on the bench. He was a big recruit for UCLA and sat on the bench all year last year. Had some, the best way I could describe it, he's a true freshman at UCLA. I mean, just very shaky tendencies, but that can be fixed with more experience, and sitting on the bench watching a winning team probably helped. Gunnar Stockton, first-year starter, obviously came in, helped win SEC championship, but fell short in their playoff game. Going to be interesting to see what he does. Like we said, man, this is a guy that is taking over a team that, just a couple of years ago were back-to-back champs, and now all of a sudden SEC is loaded with good quarterbacks, great talent. Is Georgia just going to kind of fade away here? Fade to not to mediocrity, to the middle? We'll see. Gunnar Stockton has a lot. And then obviously Arch, first-year starter. He's your Heisman Trophy future leader. I mean, obviously the biggest name. It's finally his reigns at Texas. He's waited. Obviously never needed NIL, so we will see. But that's the biggest name. And pretty decent list, I think, in my opinion, of first-year starters. Avoided transfers, more of like this is their first true go-around at leading a team.
Yeah, sure. I guess I wonder who's going to be the possible quarterbacks for Alabama and Notre Dame. And, you don't have to look it up or answer, but I'd be curious if any of those guys could be first-year starters for those two, squads who are obviously huge names.
No, they will be.
Yeah, they're going to be first-year starters, right? No, like transfers or anything like that.
Unless Ty Simpson somehow rise through the ranks. I mean, he had some playing time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's who might be their starter, but that's for Alabama.
Sure. It's a very good list. And Gunnar as a quarterback. What a perfect name. I hope he's good. Gunnar Stockton. Man, great name. He showed a lot of heart last year when he was basically, forced to play due to the Carson Beck injury. He showed a lot of moxie, in my opinion, a lot of heart, a lot of swagger. I'm excited to watch him for a full season. Yeah.
Yeah. CJ Carr is probably the guy that's going to take over. Still hasn't, for Notre Dame, still hasn't won over Kenny Minchey. But yeah, he's the highly touted prospect. So we'll see. It's I believe it's Lloyd Carr's grandson.
Wow.
If I'm not mistaken from my Notre Dame ties. Yeah, I think that's Lloyd Carr's grandson, CJ Carr.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yep. And then returning starters. I mean, this is loaded. I'm a little biased on some that we'll talk about in the next list that will come up. But, man, there are a ton of returning starters, a ton that I left off. Numbers, honorable mention, I'd say, because I'd get screamed at for leaving them off. Lenora Sellers would probably be honorable mention. But I wanted people like, Brendan Sorsby, the Morton kid from Texas Tech. There's some just gritty guys out there. Can Noah Fafita get back up off the ground after Arizona's magical season a couple of years ago. He's a great talent. But my top five, Haynes King talked about him. Levitt talked about him. First time talking about these two. Lagway, after true freshman year at Florida. He's my favorite quarterback in the SEC. I think this guy has it. It was a little bit of a shaky start, but I mean, for God's sake, he's a freshman quarterback. How is he not going to have a shaky start coming in, playing at Florida? I mean, yeah. And then this is a name that jumps off the board for a lot of people. I'm not the biggest backer, but you got to respect statistics where they're due. But Cade Klubnik at number 2. I don't think he translates well to the NFL. I'm not a Cade Klubnik buyer. And then Nussmeier at LSU. I mean, the kid is I put out a mock draft the day after the draft for the next season, predicting that Nussmeier would go 1-1 because I think Arch will stay his senior year. But that's another conversation to have. I just think he's a freak arm talent, just a QB that you want to see on your team. But yeah, those are the returning starters I think are top 5 coming back.
Yeah, for sure. Nussmeier's got such a cannon, and he's such a big dude. If you just protect him, he's going to distribute the ball very effectively to the wide receivers that LSU has, who are absolute playmakers. So yeah, Nussmeier's a stud. Klubnik's a stud. Lagway, obviously, we're all super excited to watch him play. Tons of hype around him, and he had a solid year last year with the Gators. Leaving Drew Aller off this list, huh?
Yep.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm all shocked. I watched a lot of Penn State last year, but wow. I think I'd have to put Drew Aller on this list if it was my top 5 returning starters. I don't know where he'd be, but he'd be in the top 5, I think.
That's what the talking heads at bigger media companies would love you to think. I think that's a big mistake for the hype that he's getting as a prospect. But what do I know? What do I know?
Marcel Reed. I don't know if he'd crack the top 5, but just someone worth mentioning. Raiola at Nebraska still has a lot of work to be done, but by the end of the year, we could be saying that he's wow, what a really good quarterback he turned out to be. And I don't think Luke Altmaier is top 5, but he's a good player. And I'm excited that Illinois is able to bring him back. Yeah, there's a lot of names. There's a lot of good quarterbacks, like you said, who are returning. But yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting to talk about.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought up those names. I mean, you didn't see this last list. I didn't update that. So this is just kind of like a cohesive brain that we seem to work together with when it comes to college football.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't necessarily they're numbered, but I just wanted to just air out a few things that I thought had some upside for the season, just in general when it comes to quarterbacks and wide receivers, and then air out a few of the concerns that I have. And when it comes to upside, it's going to be the players that have the opportunity to prove it. And when we look at the USC program, who has underperformed under Lincoln Riley without a doubt, I want to think that Jaden Maivia, this is his time. His time to show out. This is a big get. He was obviously a hot ticket when he was at UNLV. Split time last year at USC. So we'll see. Jaden Maivia. And then already talked about these guys enough. LSU wide receivers, biggest upside to me. And then speaking of USC, Miller Moss with Jeff Brom at Louisville, I think is a massive opportunity for him to really put his name on the map as the quarterback that he was touted as. So seeing him, I'm interested to see what Moss can do. I thought he was pretty good. Showed signs of being pretty good at USC. And then Altmaier. I mean, he's going to be someone that just when it comes to what I said about sticking around, having that chemistry with your team, and that Bielema system, I think Altmaier is worth the hype. And then biggest upside, I think personally, this would be probably get a lot of hate, but I like Raiola's upside. I like his stupid fucking antics. I like his arrogance. It's all about, the only thing that matters to him is what's between the ears. And if he's completely confident with his game, I'm confident with it. I don't want anyone just second guessing themselves. Give me a guy that's overconfident in what he has. And let's not forget, I mean, a fucking true freshman in the Big Ten last year. And it wasn't necessarily on him that kept the Ohio State game close, or on the Nebraska defense and maybe a horrific Chip Kelly game plan, but he didn't really do anything to completely lose the game for him. So I think Raiola is the biggest upside, and Nebraska's schedule is light. So their future, we'll talk about that next week, but season win total is one of my favorites.
Yeah, yeah, I like you. I like you shouting out Miller Moss on this list. Obviously, he made his debut, his college football grand entrance. Wasn't it against Louisville in the Holiday Bowl when he was at USC and threw 6 touchdowns? I think it was.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, now he's going to Louisville. Yeah, they've built. I mean, especially last year, they were a powerhouse. Well, that might be a little generous, but they were very good on offense with Tyler Shaw and just yeah, they were impressive. They went into Clemson and won on the road in a night game. They're trending in the right direction. So that's a really good call out, Miller Moss for sure. And I didn't get into the weeds with research on this one, but just off the top of my head, Lenore Sellers, South Carolina, the upside on that guy. People are so excited about Sellers. People think he's capable of winning the Heisman. They say he can run like Cam Newton, and just wait until his passing develops even more. So I know people are very, very high on Sellers. So would bring him up. Obviously, some of the big names as well, like a DJ Lagway. People are, possibly thinking that he could really explode. I guess just while it's on the dome, Aiden Childs, the Michigan State quarterback, because I have Spartan family ties, I should bring it up. He is quite a dynamic player himself. I think 19 years old. Very boomer bust last year, but I'm not saying he deserves to be top 5, but I'm shouting out Aiden Childs because why not? And you know who else I like, Burns? CJ Bailey from NC State. When he Sorry, I think my mic is screwing up a little bit. But
Yeah, we lost you there.
when CJ Bailey got the reins at NC State, he showed some dynamic capabilities as well. So yeah, just kind of talking ball with the boys right now.
I mean, well worth it. I mean, there's a lot of hype last year, but let's give them a year to get into it. Something needs to happen in East Lansing. They have certainly hit neutral when it comes to the football program. So, yeah, maybe we'll see something different. And then, speaking of concerns, we kind of brought up why I'm concerned about Carson Beck. So just cruise over that. And then a big concern is North Carolina. Obviously, my guy is there. I just put their entire offense and QBs are a concern for me when it comes to Belichick leading at a college level. And then this whole girlfriend, lady of the night thing is concerning. Weird. I doubt.
Just the way you said that.
Yeah. Jordan is just interesting gal. So nothing ill to say about my guy. He's a grown man. But I am worried about what it will translate to. Gio Lopez, Max Johnson, and possible third name thrown in the hat for the quarterback position. Loved Gio Lopez last year. Big boy ball now out of South Alabama, now to UNC. We'll see. And we'll see with Bill what he's trying to do on offense. Because if he's trying to slow the game down like he is in the NFL, I mean, I don't know if North Carolina has that yet, but they've certainly produced a good amount of talent out of the transfer portal. And then on the other side, I have some concerns about Lenore Sellers. So obviously he's going to be he's one of the bigger names the way that South Carolina ended the season, right? They won 6 straight games after going 2-3. And obviously the very controversial LSU game, but he was like banged up through throughout that game. But I got to be honest, I'm a little concerned about his ball security and his and this could grow. I mean, he's a redshirt freshman, and his decision making when it comes to hanging onto the ball too long. Obviously one of those wins in the last 6 was Wofford. Oklahoma and Vanderbilt were their road tests, but the one thing that I bring up is why he's a concern to me is the overhype. It's impossible to avoid social media and hype. You have to wonder, now that these guys are paid, that's not a concern. That's my concern is he going to put it in cruise control or push through? I'd say that's why he's a concern to me. And then Drew Aller, step right up, bud. Another Penn State quarterback, projected to go to the NFL. My concern is easy. Big games. I mean, Kirk Herbstreit with the ultimate just out of touch reality. We all saw it, threw it in the group. Everyone saw it that watches ball, that has like any touch of reality. Aller gets the ball down 3, and Herbstreit says, "There's no one else I'd want with the ball to drive down the field and tie this game up with like 2 minutes to go."
That's tough.
And he throws a pick like 2 plays later, and he's obviously going to throw a pick. I mean, he's just turtles as well. And then guy that hasn't played a snap in college football, biggest concern, Bryce Underwood at Michigan. I don't think he should start personally. I know why he's starting because they're paying him so much money thanks to that Oracle money, but Mikey Keenan's a good player. They got Mikey Keenan in the transfer portal. Of course, they have another cupcake non-conference, but they do have Oklahoma on the schedule. I like Mikey Keen to get these wheels moving for this team that had a severely let down season last year. And those are the concerns I have for the upcoming season at these positions.
All right, I like it. Was Keen still at Fresno last year?
Yeah, he was. I mean, he's amassed over 8,200 yards passing, 63 touchdowns. I mean, you don't throw those numbers out there with, just kind of inconsistency.
Yeah, he had a much better 2023 than he did 2024, but maybe it was also just reflective of the team and their success or lack of. Why is Bryce Underwood number 1? What are you so concerned about with Bryce?
A true freshman with all the hype in the world surrounding him. It's just like anything else. I already have my concerns about high school recruiting as a whole. There's no true fact. I mean, there's just the numbers so huge. All the high schools out there recruiting. There's no guarantee. And for these guys that are playing in high school, it's a different speed. Not quite college to NFL jump, but man, is it a different speed than what you're playing at high school. So my concern is that the amount of money you're getting before playing a snap is his head going to be in the right space? Is he going to be giving it his all? You got to wonder what's going on up there, and question marks at the coaching position. Someone created a graphic on our team that has Sharon Moore as the third highest coach on the hot seat for the season. So, just saying.
All right. Yeah, we can move on.
You don't have any concerns about my concerns?
I do, but I also don't. Aller, I think he's on a great team, and I think he'll be fine. I think you could put a lot of quarterbacks on the Penn State team as is right now, and they're going to have a very, very good season. So I'm not too concerned about him unless you're talking about getting to the college football playoff and we're talking about the same situation as last year where you need him to take you down the field. Then maybe there's some concern. But look, it's hard to make these lists, especially in June, especially when you're going through concerns. And we've talked a lot so far. So yeah, I'm good.
Good. All right. That's all I got. A lot of lists, a lot of graphics.
Good shit,
But-
man.
Yep. Next week is a futures episode. Actual betting lines should be fun. Should be a quick little one that will tide everyone over for the holiday. And then I'll also be putting out a mini episode on the coaching changes. I'll basically just be using as shorts. But I mean, crazy 30 plus coaching changes in the last season. It's crazy how many. I think it's like 90 in the past 3. It's the college is always moving. So, and there's a guy, believe it or not, Mayor, that's 34 years old, head coach.
Is that the Arizona State head coach?
No, Dillingham's 37. It's Zach Kitley, FAU's coach.
Wow. 31,
Yeah.
you said?
34.
34?
Yep.
Holy
so,
shit.
Yep. Younger than me, older than you.
Kenny Dillingham's
Right.
35.
Oh, he's 35. All right. Still, he's not the youngest though.
Couple other quarterbacks real quick before we sign off. Man, I'm just getting excited. Taylon Green, Arkansas. I like what he brings. Jackson Arnold transferring into Auburn. That's interesting. Kyron Drones, Virginia Tech. Is he gonna kind of bounce back and be a little bit better? Obviously Nico at UCLA, big name. Going out
And
there.
Aguilar at Tennessee.
And Aguilar at Tennessee, just the quarterback swap between UCLA and Tennessee. And then, of course, Preston Stone at Northwestern. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Kevin Jennings coming back.
Kevin Jennings, right.
For SMU. I mean, he's
Yeah.
got to be. I mean, if he's shown any signs of improvement, obviously this guy can run anyone out of the building. So if he added anything to his arsenal in the arm game, I mean, SMU already has the experience in the playoff.
My God.
Yeah.
That game. I mean, they did everything they possibly could to just hand the game away right from the get-go. I mean, actually, they had a very nice first drive.
Oh yeah. All the way down to nothing.
The wheels really came off like fast in that game.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, this first episode was fun. It was good to get our feet wet.
Hey, way to chop it up, bro.
Yes, sir.
Yep, looking forward to it. I'm glad we're back in the full steam ahead, and yeah, can't wait to keep diving in a little bit more.
Yeah, I gotta watch Love Island.
You're a sick puppy.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Love you.